be the first to say, I know the size of my head don't really match my body. Skinny. But I'm okay with everything I see in the mirror, but that's not why I'm here. I'm in a hotel, motel, holiday inn. Anyways, there's a reason for that, but that's a story for next day. My spiritual journey is way more important to me. It's like there's so much happening in the physical and the spiritual, and I care so much more about the spiritual that sometimes I forget to share my story about the physical. I don't feel like coloring the internet with my business, so I've been thinking about how would it benefit others? How do I want it to benefit others? So I can decide what to tell, when to tell, what part or whatever. But anyways, about today's video. I feel the need to let somebody know, in case they don't know, that if you ever see me on here reading a book, it's a notebook. These are my words. I don't take full credit for it because I'm divinely guided. Very divinely guided. So I'm gonna read something that I wrote today. Skip if I don't want to hear it. But anyways, yes, if you ever see me reading anything before now and after, they're all mine. I'm just like figuring out how to be somewhat of a, I don't know what you call it, a speaker, because I guess you can say I channel so much things, my thoughts run away with me at times. So I find it's best to write, and I have a lot of books. This is where most of the problem with my family start, because they don't agree with a lot of stuff. Anyways, let me get to the reading. I was watching the highway through the window, and I call this one Small versus Mastermind. It says, I was just watching the traffic on the highway. I noticed how structured things are for both safety and control. With everything being everything, is it hard to see the similarity of how life is structured too? It's like some unspoken word about how to stay in line. It's like you know what to do. If you wanna fall out, if you wanna not, hold on. If you wanna not fall out of line, or else, you know what to do. You know what to do. There's not much of a barrier that you cannot step over, but if you do, you know or you think you know what will happen. Your fear or lack of, your curiosity or lack of, will determine if you'll stay in the line or not. This could be, and it is, both physical and spiritual. On the highway of life, the mastermind is playing with the small minds. I kinda doubt any mind is small, but the lack of knowing that, lack of knowledge, makes you easy prey for the ones who know better. I question what better is though. I still can't wrap my mind around how they know better, like knowing the knowledge that we're coming on to and still be acting the way that they do. What is this better? 8:48 p.m. You know, it normally don't bring me much joy to reread or read what I wrote, because it's a lot. But I allow myself to go with it today, and I was writing like crazy. Wondering, oh my god, am I gonna have to read all of this? So I kept going. And this part here, a couple sentence here that I read already on this TikTok, I'm gonna read it again because I thought it was beautiful how everything tie in. Did I make an introduction to this? It reads, The Call. How it went, how it's going, and how it's gonna go. Everything came about out of me, out of necessity. Life always had me in a chokehold. It seems it's time to fight back. I didn't just choose to detach from people. I didn't just choose to be skeptical. I didn't just choose to be a leader. Circumstances really reveal to a man who reveal to a person who they really are. It sounded like the call was made. The one only a few answer. Maybe it's good. It's a good thing that divine call more than once. Because it's kind of hard to hear the call when Jesus is on the telephone and you're still sleeping. Wake up. Let's think about it. 8:58 p.m. Don't mind me. Let's think about it. If the lower nature have you catering to the physical body, and the higher nature represent the spiritual or mental, when you understand what the physical and lower nature is about, also getting to know the spiritual side and what the higher side is about, one can't help but to Every time I take my eyes off the book, I forget where I'm at. One can't help but to see how much they have in common with both God and the devil. I am not telling anyone what or who they are, but you can't understand both sides and still deny your true power or lack of. Knowledge seems to be power, for understanding the creation shed light on the mind of the creator in my eyes. I went to look up what these nature look like again, this lower and higher nature, and not to take things off the top of my head, but to find terms and examples most humans are already familiar with. I saw a short clip and click on it, though the title didn't look like what I wanted. In it, a pastor concluded, after talking about a world without rules and all the riches we desire, would we still do bad stuff? He said yes. He went on to say, there's still some lingering flesh in us. If it wasn't for the constraint and restraint of God, we'd be bad pretty much all the time. For me, he said it would pretty much be bad all the time. For we are bad and God is good, so we don't take credit for whatever. I'm at the point where I respect all opinions. So what I took from all that was the two word constrain and restrain. According to Google, constrain means compel a force to follow a particular course of action. Restrain means prevent someone or something from doing something, keep under control or within limits. This all takes me back to where is free will again? I do wonder too where humans stand or fall in this. When he said, there's still some lingering flesh in us, what does that even mean? How can what's made of flesh have lingering flesh? Is there more to being human than the obvious flesh and blood and bones? That's almost rhetorical, but feel free to think about it. In the meantime, between time, my focus is on lower and higher self that closely reflect both God and the devil. 909. Every time I pause, it's like a mirror and angel number. I will look for these examples I set out for, but as for now, I'm thinking about a few questions that I can't seem to ignore. If all things are from God, what are we mad or confused or hateful of? If no one comes to God unless He sent for them, according to some scriptures, because He knows our hearts, I guess, why are some worried about fitting where they don't belong or wasn't invited? If God is so perfect and see all things before it happened, isn't that God more to be blamed than imperfect humans? What really is free will and why was it created in the first place? Does it make sense to be a perfect God and create free will so man can choose to serve you and punish them if they don't? Or does it make more sense to think everything is really everything? And that life on earth is really a school where this maybe bored God split itself apart to rediscover or remember itself using free will to choose between its higher and lower nature, or better yet, balance the two. This might be a good time to reflect on what the lower and higher nature look like. If I've been focusing on spirituality to the point where I forgot that I have a physical story to tell. Yeah, this is where I was getting tired. I took a nap after writing. I've been focusing on spirituality to the point that I forgot I have a physical story to tell. I am so ready to move on from the physical, but saying that makes me think or remember that a balance is needed. As I was saying that physical and spiritual selves, higher and lower nature, does not necessarily mean negative versus positive. I'm running out of time. Let me do another one. We continue. As I started listening to this other person, for some points, people will readily understand. I noticed him bringing up chakra. I don't even think I spell it right if I can't say it, which many aren't familiar with, including myself at some point. I would pause, but you stay right there as I turn this page. Turning pages. That song I'm gonna play it when I'm done. Anyways, I still know so little about them or it, chakra. I'm sure it is important to learn about it. Okay, let me pause. Sure, it's important to learn about it, but it's the part about lower and higher nature that stuck out to me, not being negative or positive. To which I recall when doing what they call shadow work or clearing out trauma. When doing what they call shadow work or clearing out trauma, I recall nothing is good or bad till thinking makes it so. Best example for me would be how to turn weakness into strength. How a traumatic past experience that once held you down or back can now be exactly what you need to grow and move forward. How if you change what you look at? How if you change how you look at something, the thing that you're looking at can also change. You can also say, now that you know better, you should do better. This mission seemed to be for free thinkers, so I don't have to spell everything out. I thought I had learned patience already, but I feel I still need to keep at it. Did I just demonstrate that? I still need to keep at it, especially when trying to teach these things. I could blame it on all the backlash and pushback I got from people as I tried to do this all my life. The greater the knowledge, the deeper the understanding of self and others. I feel like God is being remembered. I don't know if I should say this, but I feel those refusing to try to understand why these things are taking place, those people are the cancer of the world, which the earth will rid itself of. Because earth is very much alive like everything else. As above, so below, as within, so without. I'm gonna take a break from writing, but I can't. Not like from writing overall, but when I was writing this. I'm gonna take a break from writing, but I can't turn my thinking off. I started a chart of lower and higher self. It looked like what others would consider good and bad emotions or black and open chakra. Keep God in mind and the devil at all times. But since I was off to take a nap, the chart is incomplete. I'll get back to it. These things interest you guys. You could probably do your own chart, but these words or names or whatever probably give you an idea if you don't already have one what it would look like. On one side you have open and the other side is closed, like lower and higher. Okay, so on this side we have petty, selfish, fear, shame, guilt, depression, stress, mean, dishonest. Did I already say depression? Anxiety and hate. On the other side, we have peace, confidence, selflessness, kind, bliss, freedom, calm, noble, generous, love, compassion, forgiveness. Even if we don't know where to place them, we're familiar with these things. Let's take love and hate for example. Many love violence and hate harmony. In such a case, is love good and is hate bad? The question then becomes, is violence good or is harmony bad? Do we not know by now that because we don't all always have things exactly how we please, some use violence to obtain harmony? Or did some people get out of physical slavery? I intentionally said physically. I feel like repeating that part. How did people get out of physical slavery? I intentionally said physical because the new slavery is of the mind, the mental, the spiritual war. 9:59. Then how they link war to spiritual? if spiritual is good and war isn't. As I was saying before my nap, there really is a time to be a teacher and a time to be a student. As I was about to take a nap but felt the need to pee, I was still gonna go to sleep and let the sensation wake me because all I needed was a nap. Among many among many things I am reciting to see what I've learned and how to apply them. I thought about all I just wrote and what some things are. I thought about okay, let me wrap this up real quick. I thought about all I just wrote and that some things are for me to learn, not teach, not yet. Learning to teach hit different when learning. So I started thinking, oh, fear keeps us in lower nature. I wonder, fear of what? Just so I could avoid it. I know other thoughts will come to support my whys or give me answers that I need. I started writing again because I laughed out so loud. I figure there's no need to be specific about this fear. In that, I'm still wondering how to push back against fear itself. How to push back against fear itself. The word decide came to mind. As simple as that. I thought of a free will to decide. I started laughing because a loud thought came to mind. Nobody said it was easy. We said it was free. Maybe I laughed because it's free will because this free will been puzzling me. Free don't necessarily mean easy. Knowing me, I'm gonna now question easy because everything is perspective for me. And if I want easy or easier, so shall it be. And then I said, be right back. It's 11. My handwriting was so bad. I don't know if I said 24 or 44. 11:24 or 11:44 a.m. October 11th, 2024. Speaking of October, I was just thinking, being spiritually, I think there's a different meaning than what I'm thinking when I said spiritually pregnant. Like I'm pregnant with an idea spiritually, and it's time to just give birth to it. My baby, like my physical baby, was not really a baby, is an October baby. And I was also thinking about that time when I was pregnant, literally. I've never been so skinny in my life until now. So it seems as if there's something about being skinny and pregnant and giving birth in October.